Summer transfer is here, and the window is heating up. It is the Club World Cup, but Manchester United is staying active in the transfer market. Sir, we got Mbuemo on the way, hopefully. They're working on a deal with Brentford. Their manager's going, apparently, to Spurs, but he wants to come to United. Personal terms have been agreed, but it is the summer silly season, and lots going on. We have a new DOF as well. Jason Wilcox is officially the replacement for Dan Ashworth. How are we feeling, sir? United coming out of the gates pretty hot. Striker rumors, everything doing. Garnacho out. A lot of business for INEOS to take care of this summer.
A lot of business, and shout out to Bruno Fernandes, who won the Nations League with Portugal on penalties. Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United legend, his jersey's hanging here in the pod bunker, scored. And then Portugal defeated Spain, who won the Euros. So the Nations League, is it a real trophy? I was having a debate with a soccer coach at my son's soccer practice. He seems to think it is. I do not, sir. UEFA Nations League, is this just a FIFA cash grab, real trophy, or just cash grab?
Cash grab. That is the name of the game these days, and everything to do with football and beyond. It's all about the bucks. I didn't even know it existed. Nations League, usually in June, the boys used to be, in southern France or maybe in Dubai enjoying themselves. Everyone's still playing football. We obviously have the Club World Cup, underwhelming in terms of ticket adoption, but we have the Nations League. I didn't even know about that. Isn't there some kind of Copa in the Americas as well that the U.S. will be participating in?
Yeah, Copa America, that's not necessarily a real trophy either, but Nations League is kind of like a new thing started in 2019 as a way to, make more money off of World Cup qualifying. But look, Portugal, I'm a fan. It's good for Bruno Fernandes to win something. This guy lost the final against Tottenham, had the postseason tour debacle, and then he finally had some good news with Portugal. So it's good that the captain decided to stay, reject Saudi, and then go on and win the Nations League with another Manchester United legend who's still at it, Cristiano Ronaldo, who might be signing for a club late and then going to the FIFA Club World Cup. So there's rumors he could go back to Madrid or something like that. I think Infantino at FIFA wants Ronaldo to feature for a team. So just giving you the idea of the FIFA Club World Cup. We're not going to be covering it too much on the podcast, but I think around quarters, semifinals, it could get exciting.
We'll keep an eye on it for sure. It will be in the news. I like watching the games. I was watching a good part of the final between Spain and Portugal before we started this podcast today. I'm actually surprised Portugal got the win because I feel like Spain is well set up to dominate European and global football for the next decade plus, right? We saw with the Euros. They got Yamal, he's 17, and they have a bunch of really good players as well. So swishing focus to Manchester United. I think it's all about United this summer. They've already kind of started out of the gates quite hot. It's encouraging. They have a lot of business to do, especially on the sales side, which is not moving as quickly. That usually is the case. But either way, it'll be a fun summer for United. A lot to do. They got to give Ruben Amorim every chance to succeed in next season. And I think that all comes down to the recruitment, an area where we failed time and time again for Manchester United. They got to get it right this year. They got to get it right this summer.
Yeah, the outgoings are super critical. You have to get rid of, apparently today, Garnacho's moving on. Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Antony, the shoe's got to drop on one of them. I don't think we're going to get a lot of upfront cash for all of them. And we got to fund these purchases that we're being linked to in the summer. So let's get into the exciting thing. By position, Manchester United are looking at different players. One of them just popped up today. João Palhinha went from Fulham to Bayern Munich. And now he's being talked about coming to United for just £25 million. Hasn't really hit the ground running at Bayern Munich. And United are looking for another CDM. I think he's EPL proven. He's a little older. Sir, what do you make of this news? I'm glad we're being linked to a central midfielder, given that Casemiro's older and the manager didn't really like Ugarte in the final. We need reinforcement there. I feel like we talk about this every summer. What do you make about Palhinha?
I mean, he's a profile player that we were certainly interested in signing when he left Fulham in the first place, someone that we thought United should have been all over. Obviously, the age was a consideration, and it's hard for any player to turn down Bayern Munich, especially given where United is at the moment. A little disappointed because Ugarte, we spent big money. That other than the Lenny Euro transfer, that was the big money signing of last summer. He's still youngish. He's around 24, limited, right? He's very good at one thing, and that's getting the ball back, but he's not a playmaker, and he's not as good of a passer as some of these players like Palhinha. So I think if we could get it for cheap, you still have Casemiro. What happens there? He looks likely to run out his contract at Manchester United for the last year of it. But the priorities exist elsewhere. Obviously, that's what my concern is. We need goals. They seem to be focusing on that with Mbeumo, and Cunha now in. He certainly tightens things up, but we just bought Ugarte a year ago, and INEOS bought him, so it's a little concerning because that feels like that should have been a signing to strengthen that position, sitting next to Bruno Fernandes in that holding two. What are your thoughts, sir? He fits the profile, but we have other. I want a goalie ahead of another CDM in my mind.
Yeah, he played 17 games in the Bundesliga, 5 in the Champions League. Looking at his stats, he excels among midfielders in the categories: passes attempted, pass completion rate, also tackles 93rd percentile, blocks 79th percentile, interceptions not doing too much there. Progressive carries 4th percentile. So you're looking at another Ugarte profile. This is somebody who's going to basically tackle, get the ball back, and then pass it on. I mean, as far as a profile for a CDM, his age is getting up there, but he is EPL proven. He was lights out at Fulham. I rated him at Fulham. I thought we should have been involved in the discussion in signing him. I don't know. I'm lukewarm here. United, I'd like to go younger in the midfield. If you're going to look for someone, Brighton has a few good central midfielders I think we should be in for. Someone who is more versatile, can get forward as well. I think you need that engine, whereas a Palhinha, it's kind of like that Casemiro Ugarte flavor as well. I think we're kind of stacking too many older midfielders who play in a certain style of way, and I think we need someone more dynamic, looking for more of that athleticism that Ruben Amorim talks about.
Yeah, it's a big step down. Bundesliga is a great league, but it's not the Premier League, the level of physicality, even him being out of it for a couple years. It's a huge, huge difference. And that's something that United needs to be mindful of. And at the same time, it's like priorities. I think my priorities lie elsewhere. And if I was to go for a player who's 29, I would more likely go for a ready-made striker that can maybe take pressure off of Rasmus Højlund, so he doesn't have to start, or a new goalie, right? Even like the Martinez, he's up there in age, but goalies, they age differently, and that's a completely different profile than having a soon-to-be 30-year-old player, right? He'll be 30 by the time the next season starts. We've seen aging legs before. He's also on a decent salary in Munich. This one concerns me. I'm hoping this is just an agent looking to get maybe his fee up or drum up interest elsewhere, sir.
But at the rumored fee that we're talking about, £25 million could be worth a punt as long as the wages are in line. I just don't want another long-term deal, 3 to 4 years max with an option. If you could get down to like $150, it could be worth a punt. But I think you probably need to get someone a better age, someone with a bigger engine, someone who can dominate the midfield at Manchester United. We got to be looking towards the future here in the middle of the park, especially if Bruno Fernandes is staying. I feel like there's a big job to do in the midfield. I don't know if I'm sold on Palhinha just yet. Next bit of news, we're jumping to striker Victor Osimhen. He's rejected the Al Hilal proposal, falling in line with Bruno Fernandes. Might be coming to Manchester United. Look, we haven't signed a striker yet. We're hearing mixed news about Gyökeres. Osimhen, he's got those big wages. Apparently Galatasaray is interested. Manchester United are interested. Other clubs tracking as well. But the fact he's not going for the big payday in Saudi means he's up for grabs. And while this transfer has been dismissed earlier in the window, you never know when we get to the end of the window. If we don't have that striker in, you could be going for an Osimhen character. We rate him on the podcast. I think he's got that athleticism, sir. He's got that ability in front of goal to just hit 20 or 30 in the league. He could change Manchester United's attack, but is he worth the big wages and everything else that comes with that? I
mean, this is one of those where Woodward and crew would be all over this. They would take this deal in a second. They'd give him $500K a week, $400. They give him massive amounts of money to make it happen because he's absolutely the profile player Manchester United are calling out for. He's a proven goal scorer, elite athlete. He makes everybody in his team better around him. I would take him over the Swede personally, just because of like how dynamic he is. I think I'm a little worried about the Swede. I'm not going to lie. I just feel like we're signing up for like another Højlund. I don't know. Something scares me. He's obviously much better than Rasmus Højlund, but Osimhen, he's such a good player. But the wages at the same time, we're trying to bring the wage book down. The wages that we're hearing for the new signing, Cunha and Mbeumo, are in the 200K range. He wants more like Casemiro, Rashford wages, 350.
I don't like that.
No, and I think we have to avoid that. He is younger. He's a little bit younger than Gyökeres as well. He's 26, turning 27 this year. I mean, he's unbelievable. That front three would be insane. And Mbeumo with Cunha and Osimhen, like with Bruno Fernandes behind them. But at the same time, these first two signings, Palhinha and Osimhen, this feels like the the ghosts of Christmas past. Like, this is the deals that we used to chase, and there's reasons that we're hopefully moving off this, because as good of a player he is, we can't be fucking up our wage structure, because the reason the Chelsea business makes sense is because they sign all these players and they don't give them huge wages. They give them a long-term contract, 7 years, but that's easier to sell. You give a player $500K a week. Look at Rashford, look at Sancho. It makes it very, very problematic, and we don't need any more anchors at the club.
No, that's a great point. This is from probably like tier 3, 4 sources, but Galatasaray interested, Manchester United, and Juventus. I don't think he's going to be looking at like $400K a week at Juventus or Galatasaray. So if United could get competitive in that Bruno range, maybe 250, and Buemo is going to be near there too. If Osimhen's interested, I'd like to see him in the Premier League. Like you did say,
number 9,
him versus the Swede. I'm going Osimhen just because he's more dynamic. Also, Darwin Núñez like killed it in the Portuguese league.
That's a good
Came
point.
over to the EPL and just floundered. So you have to take the Portuguese league with a grain of salt. Versus, I think Osimhen's more of that proven Italy. He's done it in Turkey. He's just got that vintage United striker vibe where he's just a killer up front. Like this attack with Mbeumo,
oh my God,
and Cunha and Bruno would just be like, this would scare defenses. So I don't think we've scared defenses since Zlatan.
Yeah.
Since Zlatan was in the team, like people were afraid of him. He was going to score a lot of goals. Like Osimhen, Cunha, Mbeumo, like
Ahmad.
Yeah, you got some firepower. People are going to be worried about you. Like you could contend. I feel like United,
Remember they
a
used to worry
player
about
like
us?
this. I don't think if you get like an Osterman in, I think you could be. People are going to start taking you seriously here. Like Gyökeres is kind of like, all right, can you do it? And he could, right? But at the end of the day, I feel like an Osterman just got a little more oomph to it, sir. You sign him and you're like, let's go, 25, 26.
It's turnkey. I mean, he's like, you have, you never know, but you almost have no worry that it's not going to work out in the terms of like, he's going to score goals for this side.
The shirt's light.
The shirt is light. I worry about
it. Could be heavy on your crush.
It could be, because it's a big change. And obviously, like, I think the fact that he played in the Serie A, he's played in Champions League, obviously Gyökeres has as well. I don't know. I just like this transfer a lot. It's the wages that scared me, but maybe they could be creative. Maybe there are other ways to skin the cat. But if we had to give him like huge money, you do want to avoid that, but he would look, that front three would be absurd. And that's what you want to do. You want to instill fear in other teams. And what you want to do is you want to make signings where the other clubs are complaining. And they're already starting to complain because we're taking
PSR.
players.
Yeah. They're PSR complaints are happening. And that means good things are happening at Manchester United in the offseason. The latest on Gyökeres. There's not a lot here, but Romano mentioned Manchester United and Gyökeres in the same sentence. We have to report on it. Manchester United had more contacts with all parties involved in Victor Gyökeres deal this week to understand how the situation was developing. United remain in the race and are currently informed on every step. They're in the race and informed. That's all we got. And like, this is like all over social media. In the race and informed, tell me, let us know how much he needs to come, because at the end of the day, they're trying to just like get a high bid. Like, Sporting's going to be looking for someone to beat the buyout clause. And obviously we're going to be involved, but I have a feeling like depending on how Arsenal and Sesko go, there's a lot of different, like we talked about Haaland, and like City tried to sign Kane. And when they didn't get Kane, we knew Haaland would eventually go to City. So if Arsenal gets Sesko, the odds of Gyökeres coming to United increase. Apparently Arsenal aren't interested in Gyökeres. Gyökeres is interested in Arsenal. All of these things kind of dominoes have to fall to then get him to United, because I feel like it's probably not his first choice, and we're not going to pay the most amount of money, but we would do a deal if both parties are sitting at the end of the window. United doesn't have that striker yet. Don't go for Osimhen, and he's available.
And that's sometimes how these transfers come out. It's all dependent on like, where do the chess pieces lie? How do the puzzle pieces come together in terms of, all right, like you said, Sesko, he goes to Arsenal. They don't need a striker. How many teams in Europe are going for a big name, big price striker? Obviously, Chelsea just got the lap. They have got tons of players. They've got players coming out of their ears. How many other people are in it for a 70 million pound striker who's not young, in the prime of his career? So this is going to be one to watch. This is going to be one that's going to be highly dependent on United's sales. I think they're trying to see what happens with Antony, what happens with Rashford. Does anything happen with Rashford? Do they sell Højlund? Is there even interest there to sell Højlund? Does it make sense to just do a loan right now, given the fact that we have no number? He's the only number 9, and obviously we saw how that went. So interesting. He obviously rates playing with Ruben Amorim. So he's all in on the system. You know, that's a good thing. He would look good in red, but I think the Darwin Nunez comparison is not something that you want to hear because
but Bruno is the counter argument. He did great in the Portuguese league, came over and just absolutely balled out. I have a feeling he'd probably be more on the ball out side of things. Nunez, if you watch the highlights, it was kind of questionable. A bunch of the goals he scored coming in from Benfica, but I think Gyökeres, it's good that United, if you think about the horrible season we had, and we're starting to hear, we haven't signed number 9, and there's Osimhen and Gyökeres out there, also Sesko, but we're not even interested or haven't had combos. And then you're looking at big name players out there with not a huge market for strikers, right. And we have a huge need for strikers. So that means like most likely, if INEOS doesn't like completely fumble the outgoings, we should be looking at, you know, hopefully Gyökeres or Osimhen at Manchester United. In like an upside case, a downside case, you'd be looking at some championship striker you never heard of. But we definitely need like a more prime time player, given the fact that we have Højlund, who's, you know, had a really rough sophomore season, and you need goals. Cunha and Mbeumo help, but you don't want to be putting Mbeumo at striker, playing people out of position. We did that with Rashford for years. You need a number 9. You need a dog like Gyökeres or Osimhen to lead the line for Manchester United. You need someone who can hold the shirt, score the goals, and make watching Manchester United fun again, because scoring goals, winning games, competing for things is what we want. And while we did compete for the Europa League, it was embarrassing at times, and I'd much prefer having one of these strikers put 4 past Tottenham and just winning the whole thing easy.
Because if we could score goals, we would have won that final, and we would have won a lot more games in the Premier League last season. I have to admit, the fact that we signed 2 players, 2 of the best attackers in the EPL after the season we had, and neither of them are number 9. They can play number 9, but neither of them are like an out-and-out number 9 target man the way he is. That does take the pressure off United, but at the same time, you want that because when you watch the tape, Mbeumo on the right 10 spot and Cunha on the left 10 spot, those players are born to play there for Manchester United. They're born to play there in that system, and you want just this big fucking unit up front that can bang them home. Because
you're not asking what's he doing with like Højlund. Where are you going? No. It's like, no, he's gonna be like,
and he'll get service. He'll get a lot of service. You know, obviously step up in the league. But if you have those players creating behind him, same time, you know, Dogu's going to be better next year. He'll have another year under his belt, and Bruno is going to be sitting behind him with a CDM kind of mopping things up as he pulls the strings. That's exciting. That's something to, you know, chew on as we approach next season.
Rounding out the striker discussion at Manchester United, we got to talk about our active striker, Rasmus Højlund. He was speaking to a journal outlet. He says, quote, "I have a contract till 2030. Oh man, 2030. You know, that's all.
Sir,
for some reason,
that's a long time.
So I expect to play for Manchester United. He's like, I expect to be one of those signing like Lindelof, just run my contract down all the way to the end, just run it down. I'm looking forward to going on summer vacation, and then I'm fully dedicated to the project that's underway. I know I can't get much out of reading things. I know what the facts are, and that is that I have a contract with Manchester United until 2030. I expect to play there, so I'm just getting ready for summer vacation and then hopefully a good preseason. Look, not a lot there from Rasmus Højlund, but he spoke to the press. I think he's talking about the rumors to Italy. He's obviously informed on those rumors with his agent. I think United, I'd like to see him come back underneath like a Gyökeres or Osimhen, but I'm pretty sure, you know, it's kind of like the Antony second season. You know, once you have a player who comes into a team, you got to give him a year, and the second season you should see a significant step up. Once you see that second season go like completely awry, that usually is something's completely off, because usually that player, if he's got any dog in him, that offseason, that after that second season is like, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to just come back and just like all guns blazing, especially with attackers. And when you don't see that, especially from Højlund, I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's doing and issues he has, you could literally see on film and point out what he should be doing, and he's not correcting it. To me, those are some bearish signals on Højlund, although my heart says if you put him behind like a proper dog, he could pick up some of the tricks and then really, you know, go on from there. He has a contract through 2030. Maybe a loan wouldn't be the worst thing, but you can't loan a striker before you sign a striker.
No doubt. Even though we sent out 3 attackers in January, that certainly didn't help our cause. I have to agree with you. I think at the end of the day, it's like if you get an offer, £40 million legit, you probably take it. No, you would.
You ain't getting it.
No, you're not. But that's the point of the matter is if you're not getting it, like then get a number 9 who can start the line, score goals, score 20 goals in the EPL, and he could be the guy behind you.
Yeah,
because
cup games.
He's 22,
cup
bro.
Games,
he's,
sub,
he's 20 exactly.
minutes,
Sub.
like,
Let him. What did Ray Rooney say? Sometimes you need to sit on the bench and just get mad that you're not playing. And he just played every game because we had nobody else up, and all he did was continue to fail. So I would like. Give him one more year. Let's put Osimhen or Gyökeres in front of him. And then if he still sucks, then we'll get rid of him. But like at the end of the day, we need goals. He's young. He is raw. He's big. He's a big lad. He's got some pace. He looked like terrible last year.
Diamond in the rough.
But diamond in the rough. And his first season, he scored 16 goals. And then he shat the bed last season. Sophomore slump. Maybe a sophomore slump. But I feel like you give him away for peanuts, he'll go tear up. He'll do so much better in a lower league because he's made for it. Like, I mean, he did that in Europa League when we played Betis or, equivalent. He would show his quality, but we'll see. This is one to watch. It's going to be dependent. Is anyone looking to buy? Probably not.
Yeah, the question is what price? What would be if you had to put a price on this, I just think the price that someone will offer you after the last season is so low that you're not going to sell him, that you'd almost loan him. Moving on to goalkeeper, Donnarumma is the latest goalie we're being linked to. Oh no, Onana might be being moved on this summer. We talked about Emi Martinez. There was some rumors about a swap deal with Rashford and Villa to get Rashford over there, but he wants Barcelona. And then Donnarumma has a new deal. His contract's up in 2026, and he hasn't signed a new deal yet. Obviously, Manchester United are interested. Just saw that Real Madrid are interested. Just won the Champions League with PSG. He can pretty much go wherever he wants. Of course, Manchester United are interested in him. So this is really a nothing burger. But Donnarumma, United links. What do you think?
I mean, he's arguably the best goalie in the world right now. You know, him or maybe Courtois at Real Madrid. It's probably him because he just won the final. He's 26. I mean, that is like a kid as it relates to being a goal. He's got like a decade of top flight football ahead of him. He's a monster. We obviously faced him, years back when he was just a young lad. So I think this is him fishing for a new contract. You know, I can't.
Classic European fishing.
Right. Like, I can't imagine that PSG is not going to re-up him, given how good he is, given the fact that they just won the Champions League and they could win it again, given how exciting their squad is. So I'd love it. I would be all about this. Trust me, there's going to be a lot more confidence in terms of who's between the sticks next season. Onana, just shaky. We can't have that. You couldn't do better. I mean, this is like you pick basically this is like you get anyone you want, you'd pick Donnarumma, right?
Yeah, but this is a classic linked to United for the money. But here's the deal from L'Equipe, and this is actually a reputable outlet in France covering PSG. You got to listen to it. With his contract expiring in 2026, Donnarumma is yet to extend. This is an intriguing situation as both Manchester United and PSG have already positioned themselves. So Manchester United positioning to get Donnarumma. He'd obviously come in as number one. We need a number one, him or Emi Martinez. I feel like it's got to be somebody next year. So like Donnarumma has the contract through 2026. If you can get him this summer, great. But if you can get Martinez, I'm fine with that as well because you just need to move on. You don't need the guy. You need the guy before the guy. So even if we sign someone else before we get, say, like a Donnarumma or the next big thing, you just got to move on from Onana because this team at goalie has just been struggling over the last 2 years. And we're going to... One of the last things we're going to cover here, LVG.
It is still.
He was on Sky Sports for some reason. I have no idea why.
Cooking United.
That's
what he's on for. That's why he's on.
Like LVG talking about INEOS, talking about Manchester United as a club. And, it's not something we haven't heard before, but I thought it was worth listening to LVG. And we're going to react on the other side.
A commercial club. It's not a football club, I think. I have said that before. And that's always difficult when not the manager is deciding which player has to come is very difficult. When other persons buy the players, then you have a problem because you need to have the knowledge of the manager, the orientation of the manager, because he has to train them. So I think it shall be always like that. And Arne Slot is the man who says to his...
Okay.
These fucking Dutch guys, bro. This guy is so full of shit because I thought the best football clubs in the world, the director of football, picks players.
He's kind of rambling. Like, I didn't hear that.
His recruitment was terrible, by the way. The 2 Dutch guys that we've had over the last 10 years, both the recruitment was very poor.
Yeah,
that was because they were picking.
And they picked the players.
and they were bad.
So I actually disagree. Like, he just says Manchester United's commercial club.
He hates United so much.
He's taking a shot at United. I think it's fair to say we're a commercial club,
are.
not a football club. I think we're trying to change that with maybe Ratcliffe has his hand in the pie a little too much, maybe making too many changes. We are trying to move in that football club direction. I think under Woodward and Arnold, it was much more commercial first. Now we're trying to find that balance because we got sort of a Muppet owner in Ratcliffe who's like probably calling too many shots. But I got to disagree with LVG. The best football clubs in the world, like the director of football signing, the players, right? If you look at who he signed at United and how he was like Dutch league bias, it was all Dutch players. They didn't come good.
Nope.
And Erik ten Hag right behind him doing the exact same thing. So I think LVG is doing his countrymen a disservice here.
Yeah, but classic Dutch stubbornness. We know all about that. I mean, look at Real Madrid. Like, they don't care who the manager is in any given moment. They're still they're still buying ballers. They're still buying the best players possible that will fit into a system that they want to play. And then over time, the managers will come and go. It's just funny because his recruitment he did pick the players because back then, like, Woodward just always deferred to the manager, and his recruitment was even worse than Den Hag's. I mean, like, Schneiderlin, Depay, Schweinsteiger was a fucking mess. So any chance he has to take a pop at United, he ain't gonna miss it up.
Dude,
They all hate it, bro. They all hate you. I feel like leaving. Wait till
He
Ten
won
Hag.
the FA Cup. Another FA
fun.
Cup. Another Dutch FA Cup. Let's
There you
go. Look, that's it. That's the podcast. Quick United in the news, hitting all the crazy transfer muppetry. You like the podcast, please subscribe wherever you listen. Also, you can check out our YouTube channel, America Devils on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment, help the channel get off the ground. Also, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. You want to go the extra mile, support the podcast. Also, check out our store. You can grab some merch this summer. We got scarves, we got hats, we got hoodies, we got shirts, we got everything you need to support the greatest club in the world. We're one world-class striker away.
That's it.
From making it. Also, check out our website, americandevils.com. Sir, it's been a hell of a summer so far. Excited for it to conclude. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, they've already come out of the gates hot. The first part of the summer transfer window is about to close for the Club World Cup, that FIFA cash grab that's coming out. But United, INEOS coming out of the gates hot. They've got big work to do. It's all on INEOS. They have to bail out Ruben Amorim. They left him flailing for the second half of the year with no attacking backup. And they have a lot of work to do, especially on the sales side. But we will be with you every step of the way throughout the summer. American Red Devils, love this club. We will be back this season or 10 years from now. We'll be with you.